Hello my fiery friends, the Infernoman here with a rant today. Okay, so real quick, first off, I am working on some future deck techs and some more commentary videos, but this one, I'm honestly going to go up. Like, I don't have a script for this, so I'm basically talking right now off of this. As you watch right now, some random footage of me trying to play some Baldur's Gate Limited. So sorry, real quick, also with that, the limited footage you're going to see, I'm not very good at this, so hopefully you can just enjoy that in the background while you hear me ramble on about everyone's favorite format in Arena, Alchemy. This is basically going to be me ranting about how I feel about Alchemy and the fact that when we got Battle for Baldur's Gate added to the client, it made me think very carefully about basically where we are going with Arena. I know many people out there are still don't have to worry about some of the stuff that this does because you're already playing most likely paper in some way, shape, or form, whether you have your commander deck or maybe you still have some kind of pioneer deck sitting around, or maybe some of you actually are playing standard in paper. Who knows? But here's my thing that I'm just going to ask all of you before I go into my rant. I want to know from those of you, and if you want to leave a comment on this, please make sure to do so. How do you feel about Alchemy as a whole? And I'm not going to ask this because it boggles my mind when I saw the recent Magic the Gathering Arena state of the game. So this is the one that just came out right now, a couple days ago as of the posting of this video. So this was on July 6th. So basically the article, and I'm not, again, like whenever I do these, I never go over the whole article. It's just so wordy. But we're just going to get to the main core of what this has. So first off, you already saw, as of right now, obviously Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate is now available for you to do. So in other words, this is our first set and mastery pass that you can get, but it only is going to affect cards for historic, which again, that's not normally bad until Alchemy comes into play. I'm gonna be honest, again, I don't like Alchemy. I gave it a try. I wanted to like it. I wanted to be on board with the idea of what it can provide, but Alchemy has ruined many aspects of Arena, and it's starting to fester into other things. But before I get into that, real quick, if you do like the videos that I do, I'll just ask real quick to shill. Sorry, I had to do this. Please make sure to give a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so you can see all my other rants, my booster pack openings, deck techs, and so much more. Just getting those things out there, showing that support for me is something I really would appreciate, guys. Now that I have that out of the way, let's talk about the most essential part that I'm going to post up real quick. So, from the article, The Rising Tide of MTG Arena. Quoted from the article, when MTG Arena first came online, it supported only one main constructed format, Standard. Fast forward a few years, we still have only two, Standard and Historic, but in the past year, we have doubled the amount of constructed formats, Standard, Historic, Explorer, and Alchemy. As Magic players ourselves, it feels great to expand our offerings, including unique Magic experiences that only exist on Arena, and bring a different and valuable layer of depth to the game. Indeed, one of the Magic's greatest strengths is there are many ways to play with many kinds of players. Whether you are a veteran or a fresh face, whether you started on tabletop or online, whatever your favorite format, we are glad to have you as part of Magic. Of course, the growth also brings new needs. All of our designated main formats are important, and we want to assure players there will be content coming to Arena for each of them. Here are some of the things you'll be seeing later this year. First and foremost, Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate itself will bring new cards and rebalances to Alchemy and Historic later this week. Later this summer, we'll be releasing two anthologies. Explorer Anthology number 1, which will contain 20 Explorer legal cards from iconic powerhouses to offbeat favorites. Historic Anthologies 6 will contain 20 cards legal only in Historic, bringing new possibilities to our broadest and most powerful format. For Standard players who want to fortify their collections before rotation, we'll be running several weeks of extra Premier drafts for this past year's sets, starting with Innistrad Midnight Hunt. And Dominaria United will bring new content to all our formats in the fall, followed by the Brothers' War towards the end of the year. So real quick, the biggest takeaway from what I just read was we're going to, of course, get two new anthologies, one for Explorer, one for Historic. But here's the thing that kind of boggles my mind. And again, most of you in the community already, unless if you've been living under a rock and haven't been playing for the past year and some, have already figured out that we've already calculated that about 100 cards, 100 essential cards are all we need to get his Explorer all the way to Pioneer level, at least to get us the bare basics of the decks that are mostly in the format currently. And as you see, we're going to get anthologies in sets of 20. So if we were to calculate how long it might take them to do this, you're looking at least, we're probably another year out before we get to Pioneer. The reason why this boggles my mind is they just spent all these resources to put out Alchemy cards, rebalances, the Baldur's Gate ones that we have on there, and what you saw from last year, Historic Horizons, which also introduced more stuff into the format. You saw, of course, over the past time, we've had Jumpstart cards. We've seen Alchemy just constantly start moving itself into other things. And originally, Alchemy, when it was just for Standard, I was like, fine, whatever, I don't care. The moment it started then affecting more and more stuff for Historic, that's when many people started having an outcry. I know that many people also have to understand that Historic itself is not a quote-unquote real format per se, because again, it's digital only and arena exclusive. I get that. But here's the thing that people like. Most players will agree they like when their cards that are digital also are the same on paper. Basically, for me personally, if you have to ask, Historic and the integrity of the format has been destroyed because of these constant buffs and nerfs that we see from Alchemy constantly affect actual decks that people like to play. So, again, like, I don't know how you all feel out there, but I personally don't like the idea of, I'm going to say the H word, the Hearthstone style of mechanics that Alchemy is trying to force into Arena. And the reason why I really don't like it is because, me personally, I want to make sure that what I'm playing on Arena, if I liked it enough, I would say, you know what, maybe I want to make this into a kitchen table deck. Maybe I want to make a fun version of this for my Commander deck. Like, if it was a Brawl deck, maybe I can expand it, and maybe that would inspire me to make a future, like, deck that I can play against my friends. But the buffs and nerfs that we are getting aren't helping. They're, like, I don't even know. Like, the fact that they really are trying to push this, they're putting so much resource, and they have developers dedicating time to this, is time that's being taken away from us from getting to Pioneer, from maybe actually making Historic. And again, like, this is me wishful thinking, but maybe it could be basically Modern Light. Maybe we could have gotten in the future, like, I don't know, maybe like a Pauper Horizon set for Arena, and then we can actually have another option for us on the client, which again would be great, but I don't know what Wizards is doing. And here's the other things that also kind of annoy me about how this is going on. Every Alchemy set is basically almost all rares and mythics. They do have a couple of uncommons, but let's be real, guys. Most of the effects are all from the rares and mythics. And you've already seen from the economy that we have currently in Arena, it's already stretched a lot of players thin. A lot of players are a lot of players are basically trying what they can do to squeeze out and make the most out of the rares and mythics. Henceforth, actually, why I do this channel, which is to make budget decks, so you don't have to spend those rares and mythics. But aside from my own personal take from that, is just, it sucks away so many resources that you need just to keep up with people. Before that, once you made your deck for Historic, once you made it basically for Explorer, it's good. You're good to go. And again, thankfully, his Explorer isn't affected by this, so that's now basically the new format that most people are going to be clamoring to. But for things like, if you do like to play Historic, you're losing more resources, because now that you're getting all these nerfs to some of your stuff and you don't get a refund for those cards, basically you're SOL, to put it bluntly. And it kind of sucks, because trust me, like, I do like playing every so often maybe a little bit of an annoying deck. Like, I do like playing Cat Oven. I do like playing the Is It Phoenix deck. But the fact that now they're going to start nerfing this stuff just completely invalidates the decks more and more. And it really becomes a very obnoxious game of, well, what am I going to get this time that won't work out before? Now, again, don't get me wrong, they used to ban cards before, but the difference was when they banned cards in Arena, you got a refund on your wild cards, and that's fine. But with Alchemy, they just rebalance it so you don't get a refund at all. So that basically means you get a card that's pretty much going to be unplayable. And again, there's a couple of other things that are annoying about this, because you see Wizards is trying with every set to push Alchemy onto us. It's just, the rebalancing is just a mess. And recently they banned cards that, actually, before I even go into that, they basically said early on, because of how Alchemy works, they shouldn't have to ban cards anymore. But they did. if you actually look at the article, they actually banned out of Standard because of the alchemy thing. They got rid of Grinning Ingus. They even say it in the article. Here, I'll show you the quick little thing. We're also banning one card in alchemy, Grinning Ingus. Ingus has recently surged as a centerpiece of a powerful combo deck. Although we consider rebalancing Ingus or related card to remove the combo, our attempts have either effectively removed it from the format entirely or turned it into a completely different card. In situations like this, a ban is still the most appropriate action. I'm laughing because the whole point of alchemy was that way you didn't have to do this anymore. They wouldn't ban cards, they would just tweak them. This is basically saying by Wizards, hey, you know what? We couldn't nerf the card enough. We admit that alchemy couldn't fix this, so we're just going to ban it. So they right there have just invalidated their whole argument about how alchemy works. That's Wizards, I don't know what you're doing here. I think my final thing, I'm just going to leave it with this because I don't want to ramble too long, is just basically, if you're like me, you're basically going to just stick to Explorer now, because that's the only format that will not be tainted, and that whatever you build in there, if you were to convert it to paper, would maintain the integrity of your deck. I'm sure if you're like me, you were disappointed that Historic has now become just completely screwed up because of alchemy. And I don't think Wizards is going to go back and say, hey, we messed up, let's do this. We're going to take away alchemy, we will stop the nerfs, we will also refund you on the cards that you crafted or you earned by giving you those wild cards back so you can re-put those into maybe a future deck. They're not going to do that, guys. Let's be real. They're trying to find ways of basically sucking more out of us. And again, as a person who does content for this, I may not be a big channel, but I am going to speak up and say right now, Wizards needs to stop this. We need to start letting them know that we don't want alchemy. This was never anything that the community asked for. I dared them to go through everyone, big to small, that does this stuff in Arena and find at least one person that said, hey, I want digital cards. I'm a person that stands for alchemy. If you actually stand for alchemy, hey, let me know in the comments below. I actually would love to hear from you. And again, if you have fun with alchemy, I'm not saying don't. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Good for you if it makes you happy, but this was really something that I'm actually going to go so far as my hot take to say no one in the community wanted this. And because of that, if this was a digital only card game like Hearthstone, I don't think anybody would have cared, because that would have been just like, you know, okay, this is just where they want to go with it, that's fine. But because Magic has had decades now of paper style trading cards, the fact that they're now trying to integrate these digital cards is completely throwing off and dividing up the community more and more, because you can tell that this is where they want to go with Arena. And it worries me because the cards that I get that I may have fun with today may not be valid tomorrow. But I don't know. You tell me in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think I'm ranting too much on alchemy? Do you think I'm hating too much? Or do you think what I'm saying is justified? I have much more I would love to say about alchemy, but again, I'm not going to talk your ear off on this. Thanks again for hearing me out, everybody. And again, we're going to try to get a little bit more positive. I'll try to make a couple more fun historic brawl decks. I'll try to minimize alchemy cards as much as I can, but if they do make a deck fun, or at least, you know, enjoyable, I'll throw them in when I feel that they're justified. That's all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching, everyone. And just remember that no matter what you do play in the game of life, always be sure to burn bright. Later.